why would you train upper body if you have a knee injury? Surely that's silly, as you've probably heard the stats that when you're running, you're putting 4 times your body weight onto your knees. So surely with more mass that you gain in your upper body, the more force is on your knees, and that's not a good thing. And to a certain extent, I would agree, but that's a very one-dimensional look on upper body training. Upper body training isn't just one thing. It's not just how much can I bench press, how much mass can I put on, and if you are doing that, that is not a good idea. There's no use seeing how much stats you can hit with your upper bodies and really bulking if you do have a knee injury. Like, I will say that. But when I was younger, I went out to a PT in the gym, and I wanted to know this question because I had a major knee injury. I couldn't get into a deep squat, I couldn't train my legs properly, so I thought in my head that my upper body would probably grow faster than my lower body, and that would cause issues on my knee. And he, as so many words, pretty much said, "Are you retarded? Keep training upper body." And for a kid that was new to training, that was just going through this, trying to figure it out, that wasn't the answer that I wanted. I wanted a bit of an explanation. So I'm going to try and give you my thoughts and opinions on upper body training now, and hopefully this sheds some light on how you should or should not train. So as you can see here, this is upper body training. If I don't move my legs, I'm just moving my upper body. This is upper back, this is spine, this is shoulders. My shoulders are moving in certain motions, and yeah, it's a very light form, but it gets some cardio in, and it is technically training upper body. The opposite end of the spectrum of this would be something like a bench press, because you're in a locked position and you're pushing through, and you're isolating your pecs, isolating your triceps, and seeing how much weight you can shift in one plane of motion. So that's completely different to this. So you have to think about, okay, if I get fat, if I start lifting a lot of weight, that is going to be detrimental. But what we can think about is functional mass versus non-functional mass, and also relative strength. So functional mass just means that the mass on the body, whether it be muscle, whether it be connective tissue, is being used when we do stuff like running, jumping, sprinting, our day-to-day activities, our activities in our sport. Whereas non-functional mass, such as fat around the stomach, is not being used, and can actually be a detriment, because imagine running around with a 5 kilo vest on. So this is where we get into, okay, how do I actually train then? Relative strength. If we can decrease our body fat percentage, get super lean, while at the same time increasing our relative strength in the upper body, such as dips, such as full range of motion chins, then that's going to start to build functional mass without putting on loads of weight. We're actually getting leaner. So our body's able to use its force better. It's able to be more efficient in the training. I wouldn't go for putting on loads of weight at that point in time, but you still want to be eating good. You want to be eating protein, you want to be eating healthy foods, because that's going to not only help you look better, which is most people's goals, but to feel better, which is what I'm after, where we want our knee to feel better, we want our upper body to look good. Like, that is a part of it. You want the confidence, and that's going to come from looking good, being lean, having an athletic physique, rather than seeing how much you can bench press and being super fat but your knee still being in pain, and your joints being gunked up because you're bulking on burgers, on pizzas, on stuff like that. Why don't we eat meat, mince, rice, steak, eggs, chicken, good foods that are going to serve us? And if you've got sweet tooth like me, fruits, OJ, stuff like that. Watermelon has very little calories for the amount of food you get into it. So that's something we want to think about. The next thing is then that portion of health. So healthier shoulders, healthier upper body, a body that's able to move efficiently, has no restrictions in it, that can flow the way you want it to flow, rather than to just be stuck strict here. And I'm not gonna lie, like I do that as well because I want to look good. I want the chest to be isolated in some function. And I think if you look at some of the fastest sprinters in the world, they had a big bench press. So I'm not necessarily saying the bench press is bad, but I'm saying don't overdo it. Train relative strength at the same time and then go from there. And to be honest, like if you do have a knee injury, it shouldn't be that long before you can start doing compound lifts again, before you can start doing ATG split squats and that kind of stuff. Maybe it's 2 months, maybe it's 3 months, maybe it's a little bit more if you had surgery. But that stuff's going to come quick if you're using the right training methods. And if you do want to see how we use our training methods, we have a bunch of YouTube videos on this channel showing you how we actually train the knee and how we actually get people results super fast, faster than any mainstream thing that I've seen. Anyway, if you're getting back in like 3 months and you've increased your relative strength and you've got leaner and your body feels better when it moves, your shoulders are healthier, it's going to be a better outcome than 1, not training your upper body at all, and 2, training your upper body but just in a way to increase your bench press and increase different stuff. The next thing is then skills. So training in general, we know that that's one of the best things that you can do for your mental health. There's literal studies showing that people's depression gets relieved when they start exercising more, when they get out, when they do the skills, when they stop spending as much time on the phone, spending as much time inside, and do stuff like this, where I'm flowing, I'm training, I'm talking on a beach, out in nature. Hopefully this is nice for you guys. Got that sea, ocean, it's got like nice ripples here, so it's like constant, it's like white noise, like I'm sleeping in the cabins at night and I'm like, wow, this stuff's good. But skills, benefit of skills is that you can feel like you're progressing. Yeah, exercise is really good just in general, but also we want to feel like we're progressing in life. So if I unlock this move here, the underhand sneak, when I didn't have it, or I unlock the tail, I can't remember which this one's called, that's a form of progression. I know that I'm getting better at the rope, and we know that men in particular, but women as well, feel better when they are progressing towards something, when they're accomplishing things. So if you go from 2-ball juggling to 3-ball juggling to 4-ball juggling, that's another avenue that you've unlocked. Your body has literally changed. Neuroplasticity, which is where your brain remolds because it's learned a new skill, learned something else. The health of your brain has got better because you have done that skill. So I'm not telling you to spend ages on the skill a day. Like I'm about to train now, I'll do 10 minutes warm up of the rope, might do some juggling. Like that's gonna put you in a better position than just saying, no, I can't train at all because my knee's messed up. And then the fourth thing that we've got is that you're not gonna get that massive anyway when you lift. It takes time to put on muscle, and especially when you're not doing compound lifts in the legs. Your legs are your biggest muscle, your biggest area group. So your quads, if they're not being able to squat, if your hamstrings and glutes aren't being used as much, your hormones aren't going to be in as good place, and you're not going to be able to be as anabolic anyway. So you're not going to be able to put on tons and tons of muscle in the upper body. That's kind of how I faced it anyway. So we want to train it, we just want to train it in the right way, make sure that we're healthy, make sure that we're doing good, because when we come back to football, I don't want people to just come back to football. I want people to feel better than ever. I want people to be more injury resilient. I want people to be faster, more athletic, more bulletproof than ever. That's our goal. We had a girl come in 6 months post ACL. She still had major quad tendonitis. She couldn't walk down the stairs without pain. 6 months later of working with us, she's back in her sport, and she goes, which is football, soccer, she calls it because she's American. But we saw her in real life the other day, and she's telling me, she's like, yeah, I went into my soccer weight room and my coach is in there, and I started repping out Nordics. I'd done 4 Nordics in a row, and my strength coach is like, what is going on? And she's like, yeah, like this is the type of training I've been doing for my ACL rehab. And she's like, wow, like I've never seen anyone come back up on a Nordic. I thought it was just a rehab exercise to go down. And that's the point that I want to hammer home of the injury can be a blessing, not a curse. Well, it can be both. But if you treat it like a blessing, it will become a blessing. Have the mindset that you can make the most out of it. Build your upper body to levels that you haven't been before. Build your lower body to levels that you haven't been before. Come back and be better than before you were injured. Most people, especially football players, don't get time off to be able to train. So if we can train you up, increase your skills, increase your strength, increase how bulletproof you are, then you go back, people are like, I thought you got injured. Surely your injury should like be the end of your career, not the start of you being an absolute freak. Where you just say, I worked with Bulletproof Ballers.